Welcome back to YouTube, everybody. You need to do as I say and not what I do in this video, because I'm not feeling too good. As you can probably hear, I've got a lot of pressure right up in this place. My sinuses are full, but we have to train today. We don't have a choice because it's hair transplant week. We've got to fit it in, and I feel okay. I'm alright. I'm on the edge. So today we're going to bring you a delts and arms session. Would you believe? The return of a delts and arms session. I think it's a relatively extinct species these days. Everyone does push-pull legs or upper lower, which is great, and I agree with the majority of it. But I do think it has led to a pandemic of tiny shoulders. So today we are putting delts at the top of the menu. Obviously straight back to dungeon, and we'll get stuck right into it.
How are you feeling about your transplant?
I feel like pretty apprehensive, to be fair. I'm not excited for it. I'm not worried about the pain or the discomfort in the slightest, because I've been through much worse. AKA my gyno surgery recovery, that was hideous. I feel ready for it. I'm like just fed up with like my hair going in ups and downs, so I'm excited to get it done. But yeah, this will probably be one of the last like non-transplant videos. So if you're interested in transplants, then stay tuned, because we're bringing you that content very soon. Well, is it me or the sound in here, the acoustics in the last couple of videos have been an absolute nightmare. You're gonna have to get right up close to my face to hear me again. Anyway, let me run you through the session first. Should be able to get it done in about an hour. It's not overly long session. So lying high raise, 3 sets, 2 sets of dumbbell shoulder press, or high incline dumbbell press, whatever you want to call it, 2 sets of weighted dips, 2 sets of curls, cable curls, 2 sets of JM press on the Smith machine, 3 sets of incline dumbbell curls, and 2 sets of delts to finish. That sounds a lot, but because it's arms, it's not that long. So 3 sets here, 10 to 20 reps on this first movement. I normally start with a really high rep set, just to like get everything fine, but I'm still going to take it to failure, because why not? And then I'll go with 2 slightly heavier sets and try and fail within that 10 to 12 range. So let me just grab the greatest cuffs on earth, the 1MR ones, the only ones you need, by the way. I don't want to see hard body, I don't want to see any of the brands, I only want to see 1MR. If you're using cuffs, which you should be for delts, by the way, these are the only ones you need. Trust me. One other tip I want to give on any like cuffed raised movements, and this goes for like any variation. It's kind of hard to verbalise, right? However, make sure the back of your hand is always facing in the exact opposite direction to the cable, okay? So a lot of people, I'll see them doing it, they're going to be like this, maybe like this, like your wrist position needs to be directly opposite to the direction of the cable, okay? That way, you're going to make sure that if the back of the hand is facing that way, then your delt is going to be aligned with that line of resistance as well. The second you start internally or externally rotating your hand, you're actually changing the angle of your delt as well. So you're probably biasing slightly different heads, okay? If we're doing a lateral raise on the cable, most likely we're trying to work that lateral head of the delt. So always make sure, back of the hand, almost think as if you were Christ, nailed to a cross, crucified. Yeah? You should be crucified by the cable going through your wrist. Okay? So think palm, back of the palm, back of the hand, directly opposite to the cable. The other reason that's going to be good for you is it's going to make you most efficient as well. Okay? So this is a perfect example. Alignment is something we talk about a lot. If the cable is trying to pull you this way, yeah? So if you follow the line, cable is a very easy way to explain it, because the cable is trying to pull me directly back here, yeah? Very easy to see that line. If you were trying to push off in this direction, or this direction, you're going to be inefficient, okay? So, back of the hand, right the opposite to the cable. Nice and easy. Okay, so last bit of information, the Y raise. We're doing the Y raise rather than the lateral raise on this first movement. It's going to help take the delt for its full range of motion, so fully shortened. So basically, shoulder extension all the way through to complete shoulder flexion. And I connected it very well. And that is why I like to put it at the start of the movement, at the session. It's not going to take away, I don't believe, from my dumbbell press. If anything, I think it helps me feel more stable when I'm dumbbell pressing. And the difference between like a Y raise and a cuff lateral raise, a Y raise, you're going to think about creating the biggest semicircle, the big arc with your hand there. A lateral raise, obviously, we're driving out. So as I just spoke about, that wrist position, the back of my hand is kind of facing up and out, yeah? The lateral raise is purely out, purely driving out. So we'll do a lateral raise at the end of the workout. But for this one, taking that for its full range of motion, and we are going to be seeing the peak resistance profile in that mid-range, and it's going to drop off in the short. So my delts are pretty much on fire right now. So I'll do one more set here, and then we'll go down for the shoulder press. Alright, the old school DB press. The reason I'm going for this option is number one, because I feel like a caveman. I'll do some caveman movements, get stronger at dumbbell press again. Number two, the only shoulder press we've got here is Nautilus plate loaded. I just don't get on with it very well. So I'd rather go with dumbbell press where I've got complete freedom over the movement, and I can choose my angle as well. So that's probably a bit too high of an incline. I'm going to put it down one notch because I want to be hitting upper pec fibers and delts here, okay? So that's the reason I'm choosing this movement. I'm just going to go 2 sets, 6 to 10. Probably work in a 55 kilo rep range. 55 kilo rep range. And we'll see how we get on. Oh, what's this bench? That's good. I did use this bench. We were good. Standardised. Great news. One. Yes. Didn't think I was going to get that. That's alright, given I can finally breathe through my nose. Okay, so max reps. See if I can take an extra one on the back off. I need to consult my logbook for that. Ah. That's the warm up. Alright, we got second meathead movement of the day. Weighted dips. You can start to see how this session, whilst it's called delts and arms, it's going to be getting a decent bit of chest volume, obviously on the dumbbell press. There's going to be a good amount of clavicular pec work there. Quite a lot of it, in fact, if you think about the alignment of those fibers and the resistance again. And then obviously now we're going into dips. There's going to be some sternal costal pec fibers work there as well. So get a decent amount of chest volume here. I won't come out of this session with any chest soreness, but you can see how it racks up a few sets on chest, which is nice. So yeah, 2 sets of dips here, both ideally with 40 kilos on. I'm struggling to get oxygen to my brain at this point a little bit. That's why you should train what you're in. I feel like a prisoner back in old times. The punishment, 50 years of dips for murder. Ooh, PB. That's 165 for 9.
I don't know how you lift your own body weight up.
No, me either. Fat bastard these days.
Pretty impressive.
Pretty impressive. Feels quite good as well. Not bad. Quite like it. One more set of this, then we go back upstairs for some fluff. But the reasons behind me doing the dumbbell press, doing the dips, you know, for many years we've spoken about the importance of lateral raises for delts and extensions for triceps. Absolutely don't disagree with that. I think it's facts. Those movements can allow you to take the muscles through their full range of motion. Dips is actually a pretty solid movement throughout, but like a dumbbell shoulder press, you're not getting that length and range challenge really, not compared to a lateral raise. However, what you are getting, obviously, given that you're holding 55 kilos in your hand, is a lot more mechanical tension than on a lateral raise. Now, of course, you have to consider when you're doing a dumbbell shoulder press, you've got your delts working, your front delts working, you've got your triceps working, you've got your chest working, and so on and so forth. So that mechanical tension, whilst it's higher, is obviously spread across different muscles. But still, I think exposing the delts to high amounts of weight is going to benefit you. And as with dips, I've just lifted, what, like 82.5 kilos per hand, if you will. Again, we have to consider the triceps working, probably a bit of delt working, a bit of chest, but still, exposing the tissue to that amount of load, you're not going to get that on a cross-body tricep extension, you know. So that's important to understand. So that is why I've got these movements in these heavier movements where I am working in lower rep ranges. It's not all about connection and pump, although I'm getting a great pump. It's about just loading them as heavily as I can with very good form. Okay, so biceps, first bit of work for the day. It's a standing cable curl. There's really no magic to that. It's just a bicep curl. I haven't really got much more expertise to give you. Control the movement, go as heavy as you can whilst not seeing your whole body move about. Make sure it's your bicep doing the work. Control the eccentric, and then onto the JM press. Final tricep movement, again, another heavy hitter. I'm choosing to do the heavy hitters on these days when like my triceps are relatively fresh, right? So just 4 sets of heavy, hard tricep work. On my upper days, or upper day, where I have some tricep work, we'll do some cable work where I'm a bit more fatigued. So I'm kind of being smart with where I place my hard volume, my heavy volume, aka these movements. So again, just 2 sets here, heavy sets, 6 to 10, and then incline dumbbell curls and lateral raises to finish. Cues for the JM press. It's a fantastic movement because you're effectively gonna think about keeping your elbows tucked and just literally folding them in half, okay? Obviously a lot of movements we're thinking about extending or like a close grip press or coming out. With JM, you literally, as you go down that movement, it gets heavier and heavier for your triceps. They're getting loaded more and more in that length and range. So as much range as possible. And then just think about pushing those elbows forwards to extend. That is really all you need to do. Don't be afraid to load it up and just be mindful of your grip, okay? Don't force yourself into a position that causes your wrist to be uncomfortable. So you're assuming that I've sort of had open hands, a bit of a suicide grip, which is just what's most comfortable for me. So there you go. That's the JM press. Right, we're gonna go with 2 sets of lateral raises, simply because the cable stack is up here, and then we'll finish off with biceps downstairs. This 2 sets here will take total delt volume for the day to 7 sets. Now, when was the last time that you saw 7 sets of delts in one workout? Probably not that common these days because they just get tagged on to push days, pull days, whatever. So this is why I'm bringing back the delts and arm day. I think for any competitor level really, like you need bigger delts and arms, right? There's not many people that are like, oh, my arms are too big, or there's no one that says my delts are too big. Your delts absolutely add to any look for any competitor and any non-competitor. The wider you are up top, the smaller your waist looks, the bigger taper you've got. That is objectively an aesthetic look. So you can never have enough delts. Now, of course, the decision you need to make is, can I afford to have a shoulders and arms day? Or is it just necessary for you to have them on other days, which I think is fine. That is a conversation you need to have. I'm obviously at a point now in my bodybuilding career whereby I'm fine-tuning. I'm thinking, right, I'm going to need more delts and arms and chest here, so let me place more volume there. You may need to go everywhere. That is probably very likely. However, if you do see, you know what, my delts are actually really weak, or I really need to improve my width up top, or my arms look, skinny or thin in any of my poses, then you may want to consider a delts and arms day, because otherwise you are just going to be hitting them at the end of your push, pull, or upper days, and they may not be getting the attention they deserve. And I think that is something that we've seen over the last few years. I think specifically, if you are a men's physique athlete, you probably should be doing a delts and arms day, because you don't necessarily need 2 lower days because your legs aren't that important. So maybe a delts and arms day would be something to do. So we'll leave this one here. 2 sets of lateral raises, 2 sets of incline dumbbell curls. Again, length and range challenge. You know the vibes. Make sure you're lying down, and we will see you in the next video, where I'll probably be having my head shaved in Turkey.